Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined again by Laura from A Brick Without a Wall. Her link will be in the description below. And we are talking about episode 5 from the Wheel of Time, Damane. And got quite a lot of pieces on the chessboard this episode.
So many.
Let's talk about Falm, all of the things happening in Falm.
Everything happening in Falm was the best parts of these episodes, especially in the beginning when we meet like Lord Turak. Is it
Hmm.
pronounced? Okay, Lord
Yeah,
Turak and Lady Sauroth's coming to meet with him. She has Ishmael with him. We figure out that finally he's actually in Falm. Best part of the episode. I can call off my search for whether he's astrally projecting or where he's really at. So now I know he's in Falm, everything else astral projection. But the engagement that happens between Lady Suroth and Lord Turak was not what I expected. He was big mad at her.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I want to go back to the last episode that we did together where we were talking about Rand becoming a blade master or Rand becoming a channeler and how that's going to work. And I saw something the other day where I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, for people watching, this is probably going to be like full book spoilers, but yeah, just a warning. Someone on the Talk Around Rio Discord said, what if he doesn't need to do either? What if like he gets to Falm and then like we start having him merge his memories with Luz Theron, who was a blade master, and like Luz Theron just fucking takes over for him. And I was like,
okay.
oh, that would
That
work.
makes sense.
That would work.
That would work because there is a lot of question of how Rand becomes a blade master. Like, is it magic? Is it just part of
It
being the
might as
dragon?
well be. It might
It
as
might
well
as well.
be.
It's like I just kind of assumed at the beginning. I was like, okay, I guess you just become a blade master once you take on being the dragon. Like, I don't know. But that would make sense. If they take it that route, then we've got like a clear cut path for how he's a blade master and how he learns to channel. Because I expected him to do some, like, I don't know, training montage or something this episode. It's episode 5. He still hasn't had anybody like really sit down and be like, hey, Rand, this is how you channel.
Right. He couldn't have learned that much from Errol, the elderly gentleman in the
No,
hospital, but
no.
I don't know. So we've got Turak and Suroth having a bit of a showdown. We've also got Loyal with them. So Loyal is like a captured pet at this point.
That's kind of how I took it, was that Loyal was a capture of Lady Suroth, and they have plans for him later, not plans for him right now. Also,
Right.
like, Lord Turak made mention of fighting for the light against the shadow, so I would assume that Lady Suroth is still a double agent and can't really, like, let all her plans loose yet.
Right.
I just had a thought, like, how's that going to work for her when they took her nails and demoted her?
See, that's a good question because I like frankly, like there's nothing in the book that I can really point to where I'm like, this is so different that I'm not quite sure how they're gonna go about that. Because we've set up so many different sides, right? We have the white cloaks, we have Eamon Valda who is back again, and he's like, I'm gonna meet everybody in Falm and I'm gonna, kick the crap out of these Shan Chen invaders in Falm. So we know that's like a potential battle coming up. We have Perrin and Avienda. So now Perrin has a little buddy who is a esteemed fighter. We've got Rand, Moraine, Lan, who I'm assuming are all going to meet back up. We've got Lanfear, Ishamael, like all of the baddies from like the side of the shadow, the Forsaken, Dark Friends. Liandrin, I don't know if she's going to show up in Falm, but we've got all of these pieces that are being put on the board right here in this city. And this is most likely the end game scenario. But now we've pitted High Lady Suroth and High Lord Turak against one another, but they gave High Lord Turak the Horn of Valir.
I was
So
gonna bring that up. Like, first of all, Paddon Fane, the way he saunters in with that horn, like nothing like calling attention to yourself as you walk the catwalk with the horn of
I,
Valier. Like,
I love the actor for him. Johann Meyer has so much
uh,
swag. I've watched so many interviews with him and he is just incredible. But that's like a book thing too. Like when he's presenting the horn, he's like buddies with High Lord Turak. He has like this split personality where he's acting like he's a king, like just super regal and like talking down on people. And then like something switches and he gets very like Schmeagol Gollum like. And like I love that he kind of sauntered on in.
I love that he took a moment to call attention to himself in the presence of Ishmael and Lord Turak. Like,
That's
I
such
will
a good point. It's such a good point because he
Yeah,
did.
he took a moment to call attention to himself. I will say this though, like I'm not very concerned about Lord Turok having the Horn of Valier right now. It's too powerful. There's gonna be some sort of scuffle or tither over somebody trying to steal this horn. Obviously, isn't Perrin also coming for the horn too?
He should be. I think the thing though is that at some point they're going to realize that the women are in Falm and Egwene is captured. So like what's going to be the most important thing, helping them get freed, or the horn? Like will they find Rand first? Like how is everything
Hmm.
going to play out? In the books it's a little bit like I hear like Benny Hill music in the background. It's like one side has the horn, then like the Trollocs have the horn, and then Pot on Fane's got it, and then it goes
Right.
back and forth quite a bit.
It's way too powerful of a magical relic for there to not be serious fighting to own possession of it. Like, and I know that Lord Turok is like, in the side of the light, but he seems to be quite, surrounded by double agents. So there's that too.
That's true. That's true. They could kill him off. Ishamael is that powerful, but at the same time, there's a chance you would start like a Shan uprising. They're very cutthroat in terms of like societal structure. When someone who's outranking someone else dies, like I could see it being like a big like power struggle, especially like when you get to like these top echelons of like society and class. But
Right.
I don't know how things are going to play out between these two characters, Turok and Suroth. That is just
That's quite a pairing of adversaries. I was really interested in that pairing of adversaries specifically because he's her superior for right now, but she does make it clear, like, why can't we just kill him right now? And, Ishi's
right.
like, you need to settle down. It's not a big deal that they took your nails. We'll get them back. Don't worry. Like, and
Girl, I'll
everyone's
make
like,
you an appointment at 2 for a
right.
new
And
set of
everyone's like, "Why are you upset?" I mean, like, wouldn't that be really disgracing for her to like have to kneel? She had to speak for herself. Like, they
right?
wouldn't even let her voice speak for her, so they were like immediately disrespecting her.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh
everyone's
yeah.
like, "Why are you mad that you were publicly disrespected like this?" I wonder. Maybe she's also mad about how high the forehead is on that haircut, but give the
It didn't
woman her eyebrows back, please. Like, why is that a rule?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the greatest amongst us must not have eyebrows. Wax them off.
Uh,
Oh, R.I.P. Lady Suroth's eyebrows.
yeah. I'm gonna start a new fan account just for her
Yeah,
eyebrows.
Lady Suroth's eyebrows. Yes.
Wanted, put them on a milk carton. Have you seen them?
Okay, so I know we're going to talk about predictions, but there's a couple things I do want to mention in this episode, and that is why do we have main characters making really stupid decisions all of a sudden?
Like who?
Like,
Let's start out.
let's start with Moraine's plan to outsmart Lanfear on the road.
Okay.
Why didn't you just take the horse? What if one of your horses goes lame? You can't ride two riders on one horse. But then I realized, she was like, who's not important? That stable master, just like the ferry master. Except the poor stable master. Oh man, they didn't know what they were getting into there. I will say this, Moraine's plan ended up working out, but it also just kind of worked to like piss Lanfear off even more.
Yeah, I think that's going to be explored later on. Moraine just barely got the jump on Lanfear, right? Like she did stab her through the chest and slit her throat. That's obviously going to upset Lanfear. But then she kind of tricked her again with this whole like horse scenario. I foresee like a
Psychotic meltdown over holding like keeping Rand from her because that's what I see on the horizon.
that, but like this could play out in a way where they're constantly Lanfear's trying to like one up her now. Like she's gonna try and get revenge and it's going to become like a thing. So I feel like Moraine now at this point, she better be watching her back, right? Because like I don't see Lanfear just letting that go
Hmm.
anytime soon. And like Moraine can't channel. Lana's God knows where. She's like banished him. She really has nothing to rely on anymore at this point besides her wit alone. And like,
Right. Do you think that Lanfear would prioritize revenge against Moraine for tricking her or getting a hold of Rand because she's, like unchecked, insane, obsessed with him?
since she can visit Rand in his dreams pretty much whenever she wants, she might go for
Moraine?
Yeah, I think she might go for Moraine.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Can we also quickly discuss that Child Valda is back?
Yes, we can.
the moment, the moment I heard that voice, I was like, Child Valda, is that you? What are you doing here? Oh
he's
man,
he's
he's
a
gonna
fun
cause
villain.
he's an incredible villain, an incredible, like, the actor is incredible. I'm so glad, like, I'm kind of glad and sad that he's back. I'm glad because
Yeah.
he's, a character who's full of like spice and excitement, but kind of sad because I don't feel like he's going to be very pleased with Perrin, and if he sees him, there could be that too.
I have a question for you regarding
All
the
right.
White Cloaks. If you had to
Ooh,
pick a dark friend, because we saw at the beginning of episode 1 that meeting of the dark friends, right?
there's
There
a
was
white
some,
cloak there, right?
yeah. Who do
Yeah.
you think? Who do you think it is? Because I think they're going to go a different route from the books. I think they're going to switch things up. The White Cloak that we got in the books doesn't exist on the show. So, like, it could be anyone,
I feel like Child Valda is too obvious of an answer. He's also like super self-righteous. So I'm not
right?
sure about swaying him. What about this Bornhold character?
I think he's a
Because
great candidate,
yeah, because he was like strangely lackadaisical with the rules of the White Cloaks concerning Perrin and Avienda.
right?
The man didn't even call for help after she had put down his entire little unit. Like, he's just laying there on the ground doing nothing.
Yeah,
And then he just, I mean, even when they ran off, it's not like he jumped up and tried to call for an alarm. Child Valda's there somewhere. Like, why aren't you calling for your boss? This seems like that kind of
right?
scenario. So yeah, I actually like wrote in my notes, I was like, what is up with this Bornhold guy? Like, how does
With
he
his
fit in? Also, like, why, what's the relevance of his name? Because they made like a there was like a whole moment where there was like some important, I'd have to go back and look exactly, but there was a moment where the relevance of his name was brought up, and I don't fully understand that, obviously, because he's a new character, but
Okay. So in season 1, we had Joffrey Bornhold, who is his father. So
okay.
basically, Eamon Valda just called him out for being a Nepo baby and was like, you're suckling off of the name of your father or something for far too long.
I mean, if Child Valda is against Nepo babies, then he might have, the common man's heart too.
When I got to that point in the episode, I was like, man, he sure knows how to torture people. Like coming after Bornhold, calling him a Nepo baby. And I'm like, oh,
I don't
sucks to
think
be
there's any
Bornhold.
character who is more enjoyably, like, belligerently theatrical than Child Valda. Even though he does, like, horrific things that are unsettling to watch, his character presence on screen is incredible.
Yeah, that actor is great. He's a lot of fun. I mean, he was like the big baddie for season 1. I mean, Ishamael kind of shows up in the end and does stuff, but Ishamael is not really like maiming and terrorizing in that like body horror type of way, cutting off hands and stuff. Like Volda's unhinged, but that's what makes him great.
He seems to be particularly concerned with the wolves too. Like, is
Yep.
this a new development past Perrin in the tent from the first season? Is this like his new pet project?
I think he's associating the wolves with Perrin. Wolves showed up in season 1 when they were freed, and he remembers it. They've been at a Tuan's mill for a while, it seems like now. I don't know how many months have passed since Uno got killed. Probably not long. Like the body wasn't, it was still
It was pretty
intact.
fresh in that
Yeah.
cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe a couple like days, I don't know, but the wolves would have been hanging out in this area because that's where Elias has been and that's where Perrin has been. So he's probably like feeling real worked up right now, like wondering if there's another attack coming from the wolves.
True. I have one complaint about this episode, and it's just that, like, at what point did Nynaeve stop thinking? Like, she has a couple moments in this episode that are like uncharacteristically like unintelligent of her. Like, I feel like she should refrain from asking questions she knows the answer to, like asking what price mothers will pay for their children. It's not a surprise why Liandrin went dark. Like, we've got her child on the line. Like, don't ask questions you know the answer to. Then, like, when they're in Falm and Elaine's like, hey, we got to get new clothes. We got to get off the street. We got to, she's like, what? Is everything too good, not good enough for you, Princess Nynaeve? What are you talking about? You're wearing the right white robes of an accepted. Nobody is going to have a hard time finding you in an area where Aes Sedai are kept in kennels. Like,
Right. Right.
madam, what do you mean? She's so smart. Like, this is not the woman who tricked a troll into a cave pond and killed him. Not that woman. That woman didn't ask that question. And I feel like it was a bad line for her.
I know what they're doing. Like I know they're trying to pull in book stuff, but you can't go back. Like you can't make show Nynaeve, who at this point has showed like a reasonable level of judgment and ideas and like make her
Yeah.
like kind of dopey. But I don't know,
I
like
hope it
maybe she's
yeah, I
just
hope it was
angry.
just one time.
Maybe it's just stress. Maybe she's just like, screw this, we're gonna go get Egwene now, like, and hadn't thought about anything else. I don't know.
That's okay.
It's more like a book moment that they included, but in this case, it might not have worked as well.
Like, they might have advanced her character past those moments, and then now they're trying to go back and include those moments. That would make
Yeah,
sense, yeah,
yeah.
because it did seem, like, really out of character for her to question why they'd need new clothes or why they'd need to get off the street, or I don't know, why they might need to get information from somebody, but she was just ready to go in guns blazing, even though they don't do they even know where Egwene is right now?
No, they don't. They don't have a clue.
Okay. So then she gets picked up. Her and Elaine get picked up by the warder of a yellow Aes Sedai, and that's kind of where we leave them. I do hope that Nynaeve and Elaine conjure up a rescue plan pretty quickly here because I assume that there's going to be some sort of emotional overload that's going to push Nynaeve to successfully channel during the rescue, which will, in fact, make said rescue probably successful. And Elaine seems like a pretty decent channeler. I
I
don't
loved
know
her
as
little
though,
firework, her little
yeah,
lightning bolts were nice. I thought that was fun
yeah,
for her.
I like it too. But I'm hoping that this is kind of going to be a moment for Nynaeve to shine at the same time.
Yeah. Or at least like some good teamwork, you know? Like that's I feel like
Yeah.
that's going to be the hurdle. Elaine is a princess of like the most powerful nation like in this landscape besides the Amerlin seat in the Aes Sedai. And then you have Nynaeve who I don't know how many times we've heard it this season, like the most powerful channeler that we've seen in 100 million bajillion years. They're gonna butt heads a little bit, I think, and I don't want that to be long. I don't want that to be drawn out. Like, I want it to be, like, dealt with quick. I want them to come up with a plan. I want them to rely on each other's
Strengths?
strengths, yeah, and just work together and not like draw this thing out. Like I don't want bickering for too long. I'm going to be really sad to see it if this is something that is drawn out for like 2 episodes. But this
I
is
thought it would be resolved next. I was thinking like resolution for Egwene next episode would be pretty crucial in the time frame we're looking at, like episode wise.
oh,
We only
okay.
have 3 episodes left unless she's going to be captured until next season. Like, I really love everything you're saying. I would like for each character to have a moment where their strengths really shine. Like, Elaine is
Yeah.
super intelligent
Yeah.
and she comes up with good plans on the fly. And Nynaeve is incredibly courageous. And in a tight pinch, like, she can be incredibly powerful too.
Mhm.
And Nynaeve is like really how do I put it without making it sound corny? She just she really believes in doing what's right.
Right. Yeah.
And she's not trying to hear about taking a darker path to get to the same point. And
Right.
I do really love that about her. And since she is one of my favorite characters on the side of the light, I would like to see her triumph here. That would be,
Yeah.
that would be nice. Though, I mean, I think we both know all of my favorite characters right now currently reside on the side. I'm a Shadow fan right now. I hate to say it. No, I don't.
It's
Uh
it is hard. Like, the more that I'm watching this season, I'm like, I guess I'm team Ishamael,
I'm
I guess
team
that's just what it
Ishi
is.
all the way. And the fact that he has land fear, or not land fear, but the fact that he has Liandrin doing some of his work for him. Oh my gosh, the best
Outsourcing.
outsourcing to Liandrin is top tier. Like, because she has that same level of belligerent confidence that he does. Like, the scene with her and Lady Suroth, 10. When she
Yeah,
turns
no notes.
around and like, no notes. All I need to say is her shit talking is top tier.
Yeah,
Her confidence is a 10. I love Leandrin. I hope she succeeds. I have a feeling like, long term she won't, but right now I love watching Leandrin run around talking shit to everybody and just doing what works for her.
yeah. I love how they've given her 2 big things to work with in that scene. I think she really feels some type of connection with Nynaeve. Like, I think she respects the power that Nynaeve is capable of and just like her determination. Like, she sees something in Nynaeve that I think she sees in herself. And
Agreed.
whatever that might be, like, I definitely think that's real. And I get it. Like, I feel it coming from the actor. And then on the other hand, we have like her absolute distaste for what the Shan-Chen are doing, which is enslaving these women.
Didn't she tell Lady Suroth like something along the lines of, yeah, well, it might be me seeing you on your knees?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
oh, tell her, Leandrin, let her know what's
Yep.
up. She always
Yep.
has to have the last word, and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did enjoy this little like hand wave where she goes ahead and like burns off the bindings on Nynaeve. And it was like, not you, Elaine, not you, Egwene. Nynaeve can have her hands free.
Yeah, that was she likes to play favorites. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
It does seem like the Aes Sedai would know to stay out of Falm, considering they view Aes Sedai as indentured servants of some sort. I'm not, are they
They
slaves or are they like indentured?
Oh, they're slaves, but the White
Okay.
Tower doesn't know yet fully like what's going on in Falm. Like I don't think that it is super like apparent because we had that little interaction with like Liandrin and Leanne where, you know,
Yeah.
the Amerlin was away. Leandrin's like, "Hey, you know, like we need to like take care of this." And Leanne is just kind of like, "Hmm, we don't know like how far this news has traveled and who all knows yet."
Okay.
It's possible that it's still just kind of like a rumor in the White Tower, like, oh, we heard there was some invasion, but until we get Aes Sedai like really, really seeing them being enslaved, then I think it's going to be like a big deal. And I mean, obviously, like from the viewer standpoint, we're not going to know exactly how like detestful it is, how horrible it is, how awful the treatment is until the next episode because like that's going to be the Egwene episode and she's collared.
I thought that it was pretty easy to assess how terrible the conditions would be for those women, considering they have to wear those weird pacifiers and
Mhm.
the collar, like the shoulder up to the collar thing. That doesn't seem, it does seem like the treatment's going to be pretty horrific of them. Like the rulers of Falm, like Lord Turak and Lady Suroth and whomever else, it seems like they just view them as a type of guard dog.
Yeah, it's just like a pet. Like that's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. But there's also like a magical component to the collar. So
right. Because
like
like you see when she puts it on Egwene, it magic locks in, and then it expands itself down. Did it like create some sort? There was something I saw that looked like a little piece of something travel out and into something Lady Suroth was wearing.
yeah, yeah, they're
I don't know
connected.
exactly. Yeah, I was like, I don't know exactly what kind of transference happens, but it seems like Lady Suroth is the master now.
Yeah, the collar is like pretty much like magically connected to the person who's wearing like the cuff.
Mm,
So
okay.
like they are bonded now. Like there's a magical bond going on. They will, I'm sure, explore all of that in the next episode, but it's horrific. Like it is not a good time.
Is Lady Suroth like officially on the lam? Because she's supposed to be in her chambers, I thought. And yet she's holding court out in the jungle.
So I'm assuming here. I'm not sure because of changes, but I'm assuming like this was like secret side mission. And if it wasn't secret side mission, then it's just a way to ingratiate herself to the High Lord Turak because it's like, oh, okay, well, like now I'm going to give you one of these incredibly powerful channelers. So, like, it's a gift. Like, here, I brought you a pet. It's like, here, it's an exotic,
Mm,
you know, parakeet or something. I don't know. But that's how they like view these women. So, it's going to get ugly.
I bet. Isn't Perrin headed to Falm too?
Yep.
Okay. Did Hopper choose to come on his own or did Elias send him to help Perrin out?
I think Hopper chose Perrin.
Oh,
He's a very good boy.
very, very good boy. All right. So, one thing that I think will make for interesting episode interactions down the road is the Ishi Lanfear interaction towards the end. That seemed tense. Like,
That was okay. Besides Varen, that was my favorite. Like, hands down, that was the best.
The way he said, "Do you know why the Dark One chose me?" Like, the flex. And then he's like, "I've had nothing but time. I'm much better at this now." Like, everything she tried to say, he just brushed off and was like,
Yeah.
"I'm better. You're not. Have
Hmm.
fun with your little boy toy."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
dad and I are going to be having a good time while you mess around with your boy toy. Like,
Right.
their engagement seems so intense though that I wonder, like, how does the Dark One keep the two of them in line with each other, because they seem to be very, like, both in deep on not liking each other. She was not amused by what he was saying, and that was obvious.
That is like the biggest downfall of the side of the shadow. Like, the
Mm,
pettiness really keeps them from actually like working with each other
okay.
most of the times, in the books at least.
So there is a lot of, like, because it made it seem like there's a lot of infighting for the Forsaken, because
Yeah.
he's like, I mean, we have Ishi who's like, I'm dad's favorite, and then Lanfear
Mhm.
is like, Mo Gideon's insane. And like, ma'am, what does that have to do with anything? You're already loose.
Right.
Like, why are you mad at her? She's like still locked up, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how the two of them are going to get it together and get this moving, but like, because they just don't see. It'd be interesting if they have a little fight. I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm just
It
saying
could.
I would really like it, and I really hope that Ishi like bodies her in it, because she's the most cringe character on the show.
She is.
Not the actress, like the
Yeah. Yeah.
actual character
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
cringe.
Sh I just think it's hilarious that she's like, Mo Gideon's a lunatic, and it's like, coming from Lanfear though, like, you do realize you're chasing like an 18-year-old around, like,
Does she
ma'am.
has she quickly forgot how in the beginning of the episode she was saying, "I need to remember how young Rand is." Cringe. So,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry about you and your child bride. I forgot. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is, I just scrolled past the word bedraggled and then laughed all over again.
Should we talk about Moraine and her sister?
Yeah.
Is there anything else about Lanfear and Ishamael before we
I mean,
move on?
no. I just really enjoyed their sibling spat scene.
I think that was my favorite. Just specifically, I think the two actors did like a really fun job there. Like, you felt a lot of feelings coming from both, and Ishamael just he the swag, man. He is so cool, and I don't mean like he's a cool guy. I just mean like he's just so like, everything is how it is. Like, I've got an
He
idea, I've got a plan. Like, it's all good.
he is a delightful villain.
Yeah,
Like,
he's a
he's smart.
comedian. The actor is a comedian.
Oh, that would explain all of the looks he serves. The
Yeah.
father of serving looks. Like,
Yes.
his facial expressions are some of my favorite parts of the show.
When he was
They're
like
so good.
caressing Rand's face as like he was playing that so perfectly. Like, there was like this almost like millisecond there where it's like you could tell like he was getting like enjoyment out of it, and like, this is a funny haha moment, like Lanfear is being insane.
Oh, she does a lot of that. She does a
Yeah.
lot of that. Like, how she traps Rand in the dream world. Like, you went all the way, huh? You made yourself a throne. You bought yourself a good outfit. Like,
Yeah.
we've got him tied to a wheel. How ironic of you.
Right.
Um, I mean, she knows how to set a good scene, but also her motives seem completely wrapped up in Rand being loose, Theron. And that's
Yeah.
all she cares about. Like, okay. You care about, okay. Cool.
That's about it. That's Lanfear's out for Lanfear. Like that's
Yeah, I that does beg to question though, why did Ishmael release her first unless he was hoping she would keep Rand busy? Cuz if she's keeping Rand busy, then he can be off doing whatever he wants. Or does he really believe that she's going to convince Rand to the side of the dark? He can't think Lanfear's going to do that.
here's another question. It might be possible that like her seal was just the weakest. So like it's a process of elimination by like in terms of which ones
Viability for
can he
success.
bring out?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the books, it's whoever was like closest to the seal. So I in the book it's like one seal. It there's a seal on the board, but it's not like how it is in the show. But it's cracking and whoever's closest like slowly kind of like comes out like a
Okay.
caterpillar or a butterfly, like that's it. They're loose, like one by one, whoever's
Oh,
closest.
okay. All right. That I mean, the way that they did it in a show is a good way to visually represent that theory. It makes it like super easy to understand. Like he breaks the seal, she gets loose. She's not trapped in an alternate magical dimension of some sort.
Right, right. I think it's
Okay.
more of like a I think in the show it'll be more like, well, like this seal was cracked, so let her rip. Like we'll bring this one out
Right.
next.
Yeah, I was just wondering because like with their relationship that they have, you'd think that Ishi would have chosen somebody who's a little bit more easily guided because she doesn't seem like she's going to be
Girl,
guided to do anything except go find her man.
I've got a great idea. I've got a great idea for the video that we're doing on your channel. What if we do a tier maker and like you can be a Shamael and you can choose which Forsaken you want to bust out
Oh,
based on
yes,
based on my
absolutely.
knowledge of them. We should
Okay.
do that.
Yes. I am very excited to see what happens with Egwene, though, because it does look like from the previews we're going to watch Egwene beat somebody to death with her bare hands. So that should be an interesting arc for her character personally.
Yep. Yep.
Like, I'm interested to see how we get to Egwene beating somebody to death with her bare hands.
I'm here for it. I'm
I
here
am
for it.
too. That's the scene I'm
Yep.
most excited to see.
One of the episodes should be the marriage between Barthanes, who is adorable, and the queen, Queen Galdrian. What are you hoping for with this? Like, do you hope that it's
I don't know if I necessarily have hopes for the wedding, but
mhm.
I think it's pretty obvious that the wedding is going to turn into like my baby shower, but like I got to word that differently so anybody else could understand that.
Yeah.
Um I don't think the wedding is going to go off without a hitch by any means. There's too much buildup. Like it's too important to the Damodreds. Like Moraine's like, okay, everybody's coming this way. And now Moraine's like, we're staying. So
Mhm.
obviously, Moraine has some sort of like deep underlying plan for how this could possibly work in her favor. But I have a feeling Lanfear is going to crash.
I think so too.
I
I
think
think
Lanfear is going to crash the party.
I'm hoping, but I'm also hoping that they don't fall into the Game of Thrones trope of like slaughter at a wedding. Like, I hope that there's a little bit more nuance to it besides it just being like an all out bloodbath. I feel like Lanfear should be smart enough to not do something like that because it just depends. It really just depends. Is there repercussions to the whole world knowing like one of the Forsaken is loose? Like, is
I would
this
have to
something that,
assume so.
yeah, like, is this something that she wants to play kind of like in the shadows at? Or is she like showing up like, hey, it's me, I'm here, daughter of the night, everyone bow down, or you're all getting your heads popped off?
So, wouldn't it be kind of counterproductive for her to overexpose herself as having been set free? Because when I mean, if everybody knows one of the Forsaken is loose, wouldn't that speed the timeline on different area, like hasten the timeline for different areas to join together?
Right, right, like, that would quicken the allies to
Right, like
joining each other.
hastening allies, like allies between Falm and Andor and places like big civilizations under big powerful rulers. Yeah, I feel like it would hasten them to get together and join forces. So to me it seems like while there's a high probability that she's going to show up and show out at this wedding,
It could
I'm
go so many ways. It could go
I'm
so many
interested to
ways.
see if she does that as herself or if she, I don't know, tries to hide that it's her while still creating interference.
Ooh, yeah, like, oh, like, it was a natural disaster, like, oh, the balcony just fell. That sucks.
But that doesn't seem very her style at the same time.
No, it doesn't.
She's very Three Ring Circus instead. So, but it just seems like it seems so obvious that she's going to interfere, but at the same time, it seems like bad timing to interfere.
She could show up just to confront Moraine and, like, try and spook her a little bit, and then have her cronies, like, if there's dark friends at the wedding, like, have her cronies do the dirty work.
Yeah, that could work.
I would really love a conversation between Moraine and Lanfear. That would be pretty exciting.
Does Lanfear not realize that Moraine has been gentled, and why hasn't Ishamael told anybody that?
Lanfear knows when they met in Tel'aran'rhiod, I think she
Okay.
asked, like, why did you do that? Why did you keep her around? Why did you cut her off instead of killing her? And he was
Okay, because
like,
he's yeah, and
desperate
then he
people.
said, "A dead Aes Sedai is a worthless Aes Sedai, but desperate people make interesting
Hmm.
decisions." I do like his desire to tinker with things in a really reckless
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
Leaving
Yeah.
Moraine around was he had to know that that was like a risky idea, but I guess he's playing chess with her, so we'll see.
They're so much more powerful. It would be like, oh, like, look at that ant down there. Like, I cut off one of its feet just to watch it walk in circles. Like, it's, they're not threatened by anyone, which is one of their greatest downfalls, really.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that does put it into perspective why he's not worried about Moraine, though I do think he underestimated Moraine's tenacity.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that if he could actually, like, check in on what Moraine's been doing, he might be like, maybe I shouldn't have let that one go." I also think that, like, his power over Liandrin gives him a lot of confidence because Leandrin's a pretty powerful pawn to be in charge of.
I think she's like, I mean, that's the perfect pawn for the White Tower side. He's got someone in every echelon of society, like the White Tower, the White Cloaks, the Shan Chen. Like, and that's just his style, and it
It's
works.
brilliant. It's
Yeah,
brilliant. Like,
absolutely.
having somebody everywhere means you're never truly alone.
Yeah.
Like, he has an ally no matter where he goes. I am curious what's in store for Lord Turak, though, because he has Lady Suroth upset from disrespecting her, and I don't blame her. He did, like, publicly disrespect her in a way that seems very disrespectful to somebody of her standing within the Shan Chen civilization. So he's got her upset. He's holding on to the Horn of Valier, and he's got, Ishamael right there,
Mhm.
working his
Yeah.
way in. And I just wonder how that's going to lead for him. It feels like it might lead to an assassination.
You wanna know what happens in the books?
Yeah, I do because I feel like he's going to get murked.
In the books, it comes down to a sword fight with Rand.
The Blade Master? I'm not gonna lie, that is a lot less theatrics in production than I expected for him, but okay. I guess he's just going to take his slow good night. Huh. Not what I expected.
But hey, like I really don't know what's going to happen in the show. Like
Right, right. Because
I
they might do
think
it a
that
little differently.
yeah, I think they might have a showdown between the two characters in the show, but what's going to drive them together? Like why is Rand just going to show up and be like, "Hey, fight me, bro." Like what's going to be the build up to that moment?
You know what's interesting to me is that even when Moraine and Lan were reunited, or not Lan, sorry, when Moraine and Rand were reunited, he didn't really necessarily ask much about his friends.
That's true. That's
And
true.
he still hasn't. Perrin's very worried about him, obviously, and everybody else. And are he and Avienda on their way to Falm now? Because that's where Perrin told her he wanted to go, and she said that her water is his. And then, like everything, he kind of misunderstood it at first, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Slow down, Bucko." Like,
How did you like Avienda?
I think she might be my one of my new favorite characters on the side of the light.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a lot of
Definitely.
fun.
She was a lot of fun.
I did like the
So,
moment where he like steps in front like he's gonna fight and she's like
sit down there, Bucko.
mm-hmm.
That was good. We've only got 3 episodes left and we got a lot of ground to cover. We
A
got to get to the
lot.
wedding. We got to get through a wedding. We got
Mm-hmm.
to see Rand Channel.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a I mean Blade Master, just tack that on channeling and Blade Master one category. Egwene's locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Nynaeve and Elaine are on the lam trying to rescue Egwene. We've
Mm-hmm.
got Perrin and Avienda working their way towards Falm. So, you know how you and I had talked about last time, like everybody seems to be headed for, how's it pronounced? Cairhierin?
Kyrian.
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 So it looks like we might actually have 2 locations for big end of the season,
Mm-hmm.
goings on. So we've got the big wedding in Kyrian, and we have Moraine, Rand, Lanfear. They're all in Kyrian. And then we have the rest of the crew is in Falm. We don't know what's going on with Matt and Min right now. But I did,
That's the missing link.
that's the missing link is, are they going to end up in Kyrian or are they going to end up in Falm? For some reason, I feel like they might end up in Kyrian. Though Ishi did say that Matt has been his since birth. So,
I think that just means like, yeah, he's a mess. He's
yeah. Oh no, I knew exactly what he meant. Like
yeah.
he was like, yeah, that one's been mine. There's no problem there. No problem.
Uh,
Okay. But Min and Matt aren't in the ways, are they?
they no, that's why I think they should end up in Kyrian. Like they
Yeah.
should end up somewhere
Because they're neither
somewhere
one is
near
a
there.
channeler, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
gotta
So how
hoof
would they
it.
even yeah, how would they
Yeah.
even get into the ways? Because you'd need an experienced channeler to get into the ways, right?
Or a key. Like usually the Ogier are the only ones who are able to like read the keys. So
Okay. Oh yeah, they did talk about that.
yeah.
Okay, so they're not gonna be in yep. I'm gonna go with Kyrian for them, which would balance the table. Like we've got Rand, Matt, and Min, and then we have Egwene, Nynaeve, Elaine, Perrin, and Avienda.
I did just think of something while you were saying that. You know how in Matt's vision, in Min's vision, she saw Matt stabbing Rand? I was thinking that this was going to be a lead up to a portal stone moment, which is like another fast travel option.
Okay.
But now that we've seen Lanfear can wear the face of Rand, is it possible that Matt is
Ooh.
somehow gets a stab in on
Can
Lanfear?
she only wear his face in the dream world though?
In the books, she can do it both places. So,
Ooh, that could definitely be Matt stabbing Lanfear, though we have already seen Moraine stab Lanfear and cut her throat. I feel like that's the lowest inflammatory way to say that. Um,
Yeah.
so we've already seen that happen. We saw Landfair, just like, "Pop, I'm back."
Yep.
So
Just to slow her down for a couple of
yeah,
minutes.
wouldn't that just slow her down in some
Yeah.
ways? But it would answer why Matt doesn't really kill Rand. Because I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to actually stab Rand. Min's
No.
vision has to be like just being taken for face value.
Mhm.
Because if the vision, I mean, how's she going to know if that's somebody wearing somebody else's face in the
Right.
vision?
She
Yeah,
can't. She can't
no, that's
possibly
good.
know
I
it.
love that. That would really work out. I am curious as to how the girls are going to get out Egwene out of this kennel situation though, because I would assume that there's like magical imprisonment happening, right?
Mhm.
And how
Yeah.
are they gonna I wonder if a Nynaeve could break that connection bond between the collar and the cuff. I wonder if she's powerful enough to do that if she gets worked up enough.
And the books like they go on this whole scheme where they steal the gown and the collar from just a Soldam and Damani that they see on the street so that they can dress as Soldam and Damani, get into the quarters and like bring Egwene out. But when they have to go get it, Nynaeve like uses a weave and it's like a weave of air, but she uses it like a whip and just like cracks the collar like off of the woman. I don't know if they're going to do the same thing though. Like I really am not sure. I Okay. So the last two books are a bit different. Like we have a big battle at the end, but books 2 and books 3, books 2 it's the women freeing Egwene. Book 3 it's the women getting imprisoned together and someone else comes to their rescue. So
Okay.
like they could do this season in like either way. Like they could have Egwene free herself and like Nynaeve and Elaine get imprisoned and someone frees them. It could be like any combination of all of these things. So I don't know what they're going to do. Like, are they going to give Egwene her own moment to like fight her way out of this? Or are they going to give it to Nynaeve and Elaine in a way to like bring around this story like back to like they are family, they are friends, like they will fight for one another no matter what. Like this rift between Egwene and Nynaeve can be put aside for good. So I'm not quite sure like which way they're going to explore it. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Like maybe Egwene like gets herself in a position where she can be freed. I don't know. Questions.
Huh. Okay, so yeah, I keep forgetting they've got two books happening right now. So we also need like to blend the arcs from the books together, and that one does seem like one that could be blended. So yeah, I don't know. I think from the preview it might look like Egwene gets herself out because that person had to get into her cell somehow. So I would imagine a door.
Yeah,
And it didn't seem like they had magic doors there like they do at the White Tower, like what Moraine went through with uh no, to meet what's her name? The
Swan. Yeah,
Amerlin, Swan
yeah,
Sanche. Yeah. I don't think it's like that. So I feel like somebody, whoever it is came in and that if she beats her to death, she runs out the door. But then how does she get out of the facility? And I
right,
wonder if that's where Nynaeve and Elaine are going to come in is the help
right.
to get out of the facility itself, not just the cage.
Yeah, it could be any combination of things. I think it's gonna be a fun plot though. Like
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge Egwene fan, but like man, like it no matter where I'm at like in the series when I read this moment of like her time, like where she's captured by the Shan, that's one of those moments where it's like, even if it was a character that I hated, I would be like, oh, like I'm rooting for this one. Like, you get out of here. Like you get out of here and you
Yeah.
bludgeon everybody on the way out. Like
This
like
is
leave a
yeah.
trail in your wake, Egwene. Go.
Do it.
Do
I
it.
don't like Egwene, you know that, but this is actually something that I'm really excited to see kind of, I don't know about finalize, but move into its next phase.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to watch her have her moment.
So this is another thing too. Like this whole like imprisonment arc speeds up her channeling capabilities like tenfold because they've got her in the collar and she's like constantly like practicing new weaves and stuff because they're using her for like channeling. So like she gets out and she's like, "Yo, like tell me what to do. I can do it all."
I got
Like
this.
yeah, and
Okay.
she's
So
not as powerful as Nynaeve, but she is like just as skilled, if not maybe more skilled.
like technically,
Mhm.
cuz I
Yeah.
mean you could be technically more skilled than a more powerful channeler.
Right. Right.
Okay, good for her because her time this season, like in this season, has been, it's just, she's just been kind of there in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. It was actually kind of surprising to see like how quickly she stepped up to the plate when they were being chased at first
Mhm.
and was willing to let Nynaeve and Elaine go ahead and then she got captured. So I am glad, even though she's not like a favorite character by any stretch of the imagination, but I am glad to see her like be able to get herself out of this, and that even though she's having like a really horrific experience, in some ways it is going to benefit her long term.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm
Exactly.
stoked for her that she's going to come out of this like and feeling more confident about her capacity to channel.
Yeah.
So good
Yep.
for her.
Trying to think, should is there anything else or should we end it there?
I don't know if there's anything else. Like, really, the biggest part of that preview was watching Elaine, Egwene beat somebody to death with her bare hands, and like,
All right. That's it for this episode. Be on the lookout and go to Laura's channel. Make sure you follow her because the next episode will be on her channel. So we will see you then.